We're going to call the meeting to order of the Newtown Square Finance Committee, March 15th, 2023. We're going to start with a roll call. And I've got to actually rattle people's names off. Larry Fisher. Here. Scott Trotter. Here. Ed Napholz here. We see Alex Sukas and Lisa Pascal are not yet here. That's good. Okay, now we need to do a stand for a moment of silence. Hopefully I get all this right. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Great. All right. Good way to start. Good. All right. So first order of business is we need to consider approval of the minutes for this meeting. I need a motion. Yes, the agenda. I'm sorry, I apologize. The agenda, not the minutes. We need a motion to approve the agenda for this meeting. Larry Fisher, so moved. Ed Napholz seconds. All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Great, accepted. Any outside public on the, okay, fine. So we have no public comment on the agenda. Minutes. Consider approving the minutes from the February 15, 2023 meeting.
That might be a tough one because I wasn't here.
Yes, someone did do minutes. You did it.
So I
Okay.
don't know that I can vote on.
You,
Okay.
Larry,
What I noticed is I do have an edit for them, so we can circle around to the next meeting. And this was probably when we didn't have our microphones on. Shame on me. At that meeting, Lisa and I both agreed in terms of goals for 2023. Lisa Pascal and Ed Napholz both agreed that we would continue doing the specific data gathering and information work associated with the Stormwater project. Great, we have Alex Sukas that just arrived. Thank you, Alex. We had that never made it to the minutes in terms of goals. Alex just walked in. Alex agreed for his goals for 2023. This was a missing piece in the minutes from the last meeting. Alex agreed to take a look at the contracts that the township has with various third parties.
I got that part in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was where we left that. So other than those two items that I noticed, and I may have missed that you had Alex in there in the minutes. Are there any other comments associated with the or updates in terms of the February 15th meeting?
Ed, I don't know if you can hear me.
I hear a voice.
Hi, this is Steve Neese. Just wanted to let you know that even if you weren't there, I'm assuming, Larry, you must have gone back and at least watched the meeting in order to get the minutes. And if that's the case, then you could vote on the minutes.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, then I think we can vote on the minutes.
Yes.
And I will make these adjustments.
Right.
Well,
We'll
I'll
have
put
an
that-
update motion
Yeah,
in the next meeting.
I'm going to put this in this month's meeting.
Correct.
Minutes, yeah. As an
Good.
amendment.
Good.
Yeah.
Great. Any other comments on the minutes? I hear none. So I would make a motion that we would, subject to the edits that we've just mentioned, we will accept the other portion of the minutes from the February 15th meeting. Second? We got a second from Scott. All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Great. Monthly reports, February 2023. Steve, I'm surprised you're on. I thought you would be occupied.
Well,
I don't know if you have anything you want to say or you pass the ball to George.
No, I'm going to go ahead and real quick give you a couple things just to let you know where we are. So far in 2023 through the end of February, we've collected about $1.25 million worth of taxes. Of the 6.2 million we think we're going to collect, which is a good start. Usually March is our big month, so that's good. We've already had some real estate taxes. I do have to look to see if when they came in exactly, to see if they need to go back into 2022. But other than that, tax-wise or revenue-wise, it's always slow in the beginning of the year. And one of the reasons why we hold a balance for the purpose of being able to make it through the first 3 months of the year, and we have enough balance to do that. So the other thing that I would mention is that expense-wise, they also start out on the slower side. We try to watch those pretty closely in the beginning, and looking at everything expense-wise, no surprises there, and we're moving along in a direction that I would expect for this time of the year in where we are. So just basically wanted to share with you as the beginning of the year, we have about 1.3 million total in revenue and about 866,000 in expenses for the first 2 months.
That's great. Is there any other questions from Steve from the committee?
I would, yeah, I'll take questions if there are any, but I would also say that Yvonne is now on staff and she's working, that's our new finance person. She's now on staff. She's helping me close out 2022, or I'm helping her close out 22. And I'm hoping that we can get all that done within the next 30 days or so, and then get ourselves caught up and be ready to move forward.
Great. Thank you, Steve. Steve Bradley, I think on your email release to the committee, you had included Yvonne, so people will have her as a contact in they can update their email line. Great, super.
And I would note that Yvonne will be with us at the next meeting. She's here at this conference with me, so she and I both will be back for the next meeting.
Great, thank you, Steve. Tina, any other questions for Steve? Great, thank you. In terms of new business, but for the goal setting in stormwater, I don't know if there's any other items of new business from the last meeting. I don't believe there were from the minutes. I did not see any. All right, so we don't have any new business items. Old business. This is where I think we need input from Larry and Scott in terms of what particular tasks they'd like to take on for 2023 in terms of goal setting. So I don't know if you've given any more thought to that. Maybe Larry go first.
Yeah, the one thing that I was thinking about is maybe sitting down with the manager and staff to determine if there are other sources, new sources of revenue. And I thought of this two ways. One, looking at and I know the township probably does this anyway, but all the fees that we charge, have they been properly adjusted because of inflation? Have some of the, some of these are people related, and we're not even knowing what all the fees are, but given how high inflation has been over the last year, are we properly recovering costs from our fees when there's there is an actual cost involved. So is that a possible source of revenue? And then are there other sources of revenue, and specifically an earned income tax? Has that been looked at, or is that something that could be looked at as a source of income going forward? Maybe make that a goal for this year.
I'd move this over to Steve. I don't know whether or not that issue of, in terms of revenue and the setting of rates for various fees that the township imposes, is that something that would be within our purview to review and make recommendations? I'm presuming it is. There'd be no prohibition on that?
Yeah, I think you could, we could work with Larry and come up with a review and say that we've reviewed all the fees and make sure that they're in line with what our expenses are. And, I think that's an appropriate project. Earned income tax, I think that we could, if that's something that this committee wants to take a look at, I think we want to have a conversation with the board before we spend a lot of time on it to make sure the board's even willing to consider an earned income tax, because that's a big step. And so we would have to work through that.
Sounds good.
Great.
Yep.
Scott, being the new member on the board, have you come up with anything that you think would make any sense? Or you want to do some more input with Steve?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so we'll give you another month with Steve. Great. Great. Okay, so we're past.
Steve Bradley,
I'm sorry, Steve, go ahead.
since I'm not there, Steve Bradley, if you will work with Rose and Scott and set up a time on my calendar, just so Scott and I can get together, we can talk about a variety of things. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
On the next item of old business on our infamous stormwater, one thing that we've gotten done this month is we put together an article and submitted it, so it's going to go out into the Township Newsletter. I believe I asked Steve Bradley to circulate that document. It's fairly bland, but highlights in general sense the magnitude of the issue without getting into the, oh my God, type of numbers. In terms of the things that are really known at this point in time and some comparative numbers to what the township's budget is. And just continuing the public discussion regarding this particular issue. So you're going to all get a copy of that. I worked on that. Steve edited for me. I think we got Steve, you got Leonard to bless it.
I've had Leonard look at it, yes.
Yeah, right. So we have a board blessings, which would be a good thing, so we don't blow ourselves up. And
it from? Who is the letter?
it's from the Finance Committee.
It can't be. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
It can't be.
All right.
I mean, I can't put something out there on behalf of the committee that you haven't shared with the committee.
All right.
Well, I don't know that it's,
I don't think it should come from the committee when I don't know what's in it. How did that happen?
well, I think it's really Ed writing the article,
I think
and
it should come from him.
Okay.
That's fine.
I mean, Steve, I didn't want to do that, but if you want to give me a byline, if it's too late,
no, we'll put it.
it's not implied that it's from all members of the committee.
No, we'll look at how we'll look at that and we'll make it so it fits.
Right, I apologize.
That's fine.
I just wanted to start the public discussion, so I just felt, rather than it going another month and having all sorts of editing, where we were not getting into anything of controversy in terms of making recommendations or anything along those lines, just information sharing. Any other comments on that? And Steve Bradley is circulating that out to you, so you'll all have a copy of it. Steve, when does that come out? Oh, okay. All right, good. Alex, you and I have also gone back and forth as to getting input from the Board of Supervisors. In terms of what we've came up with so far. Directionally, is there something they wish us to pursue further in terms of data gathering, information, those types of things? When I last talked with Steve Neese, he had asked me that if we were going to do something and get on the agenda for the Board of Supervisors, that would defer until the first meeting in April, subject to timing and other issues that may be more urgent. From the fact that I think Steve said that Leonard was not going to be at the second meeting in March. And Leonard wanted to be at that meeting in order, since he sat in on a lot of this and heard a lot of information. So right now, tentatively, we're going to plan for that in terms of doing the first meeting in April. And this is where I will get shot, but that's okay. And so with Tina here, I don't know if you want to give me any hints, anything that you think maybe would be relevant of what the board would look for.
I think that I think that's probably good timing, because if your article will be in the newsletter, dropping on April 26th, you said, Steve? So it kind of gives a precursor. So I would kind of talk about that, kind of your highlights in what you've written in the article. Also that it's a working committee, nothing is set. I think that sometimes our public gets, when something is presented, they think that it's already a done deal. So I think you have to, am I right, George? I think that you have to, again, make the point that it's a working document, it's a living thing, and that you're taking on a tiger, and you are putting out ideas. I think that's the biggest thing.
Okay. Steve Neese, I don't know if you add anything else to that.
No, I think Tina did a great job summing that up.
All right, great. So I don't think that's anything, because we're not asking the committee if Steve can get a byline with my name on it, then we're not asking the committee. I don't think we'll need a motion with regards to any action like that. Okay, good.
Ed, what I'm thinking is
Go
that,
ahead. I'm sorry, Steve.
Ed, what I'm thinking is that we would just do it as the subcommittee of the finance committee that put this together, because you guys have been the ones that are focusing on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that works for me too. Also, for the presentation to the board, that should also come from the subcommittee, unless you want to circulate the points in advance. I mean, I'll be there, and if you say something I disagree with, I can
Really?
I can get up and say it, but I am more concerned about someone saying this is what we of a committee have done when we haven't. It's just really been you and Lisa.
Got it. Okay. Oh, yeah, we can do that. We'll present it as a subcommittee. We'll explain to the board how we kind of try to tackle this problem.
And I think probably to Alex's point, a lot of people don't know about your finance, about the finance committee, because we've just, what are you, 2 years old now, I think?
Yes.
So I think, because we had an ad hoc before, so I think, Ed, just to kind of give an overview and introduce the finance committee, and then also the subcommittee that, you and Lisa are the ones who work, took this took this task on. I always try to educate. And I always make sure that, when we do things, Steve will tell you, I'm always saying, Mr. Manager, could you please explain why? And so I think it's always important that people have background that makes things. And by introducing the committee, I think it also puts faces on it as well.
And that's good by doing it as a subcommittee, and we won't be doing anything. We won't be putting anybody in a position where they didn't necessarily agree with. We're not going to be making recommendations, so we're not going to do that. I view that as kind of, this is the information that we've gathered. This is the information that we don't know. And we are going to move forward with directionally. I would suspect, Steve Neese, that I would think Rich Sokol will become a part of this as well in terms of what you've tasked him with in terms of looking at these legal issues associated.
Yeah, as we move forward, I think that, one of the things that you probably will be, trying to figure out is what is the direction that we want to head with the information that we have.
Right.
And so then what do we get involved and who? Because it may even be, it not only may it involve our solicitor, but it may also involve our engineer.
And picking up on what Tina said, another good thing to emphasize is the Finance Committee is an advisory committee. So anything that the finance, not let alone the subcommittee, but the committee is advisory. So we make recommendations to the board who are the decision makers.
Mhm.
Just to reemphasize that one more time.
Got it. Any other points anybody would like to throw into the hopper? Good? All right, that sounds good. Steve, I don't know if there's anybody online for public comment. Great. Any further items for the next agenda, in the next meeting?
I'm probably going to, I don't know.
Don't say you're gonna be in Florida, you're not allowed.
No,
to
I
say.
won't be in Florida, but you notice I'm not on my bicycle in clothes.
Yeah, I know. I try to let you down on Sawmill when I see you. I know.
I think it's important for this committee to take on at least a deeper understanding of the municipal authority because of the relationship between the municipal authority and the township, that the guarantee that the township has of the obligations of the municipal authority is probably one of the largest risks to the township. So I think it's important that this committee, on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, understands that better.
John, thank you very much. In order for us to have an understanding, in order to be able to do any type of an analytic, like, have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought about that? I think we're gonna need to have someone kind of prepare a basic model that describes the structure and what the authorization is.
I
Scott?
think it's more, are you on the municipal authority boards? Yeah. I think I'm not sure if that, the first is to just get an overview. And that could be an oral overview from someone, it could be Stephen.
Yeah.
As
So
to give an overview and then figure out where to dig in if need be.
So why don't we put on the agenda for your next meeting? I will give you a brief overview of the relationship and as well as where the municipal authority is with what they're doing with the financing.
Great. Thank you, Steve. Good. Great. Any other items that anyone else needs to bring up? George, you didn't say anything. Okay, with that, I'm going to call a halt. We are now adjourned. It's